When we did the finite verbs, the infinitives, I said there were three categories: infinitives, participle, and gerund. It's all three are almost same. Only when we go through exercises, slight difference you will see. Then so now we will do what's called the gerund. Now what is a gerund? Gerund is, in the gerund, the verb ends in ing, and then it is partly a noun and it is partly a verb. In the gerund, is partly a noun doing the work of a noun, partly the work of a verb, and that's a gerund. Okay, a gerund is that form of verb which ends in ing and partly does the work of a noun, partly does the work of a verb. Okay, so we'll do a little bit of exercise to understand better the gerund. Now, first I'll give you few sentences to look at, to understand. Okay. Read these sentences. First you read this up. Read these sentences. Look at this carefully. 1. Reading is a good hobby. Reading. Reading is a good hobby. Now, look at the word reading. We're talking about reading. Told you the gerund, the verb ends in ing. Reading is a good hobby. Dancing is a form of exercise. Dancing. Dancing is a form of exercise. So look at the word dancing. Reading, dancing. Look at another sentence. Swimming. Swimming is his favorite pastime. Swimming is his favorite pastime. Now, here, look at swimming. Look at all these three words: reading, dancing, swimming. In these three words, just look at that word: reading, dancing, swimming. They are formed by adding ing. Read, reading. Dance, dancing. Swim, swimming. Ing. All the three words are formed by adding ing to the first form of verb. Read, dance, swim. That's the first form of word, and to that you are adding ing. Okay, so we see that they do the work of a noun. When you say read, dance, swim, it's almost doing the work of a noun. Therefore, reading, swimming, and dancing, it ends in ing. Therefore, it is partly a noun and is partly a verb. Okay, so what is a gerund? Gerund is that form of verb that ends in ing and is partly a noun and is partly a verb. So now what is a gerund? A gerund, you would say, a gerund is that form. Gerund is that form of the verb which ends in ing, which ends in ing and is partly a noun and is partly a noun and partly a verb. Partly a verb. I told you, look at the word dancing, reading, swimming. Read, dance, swim. You add ing to the first form of verb. It is doing the work of a noun, but also act like a verb. Therefore, a gerund is the form of the verb which ends in ing, that you must remember, ends in ing and does partly and is partly a verb and partly a noun and partly a verb. So what is a gerund? A gerund, you must remember, let's remember, a gerund is that form of verb that ends in ing and does the work of a noun, partly verb and partly a noun. Now there are uses of gerunds. What are the uses? We have some uses of gerund. What is it? There are some uses. 1. Gerund can be used as subject of the verb, or second, object of the verb, third, as a complement of the verb, and fourthly, as an object of a preposition. So it does 4 kinds of jobs. Okay? The gerund, it does we have 4 uses for it. One, it acts like the subject of a verb, the subject of a verb. 2, it acts like the object of a verb, the object of a verb, and third, it acts like as a complement of a verb, as a complement of a verb, and finally, fourth, it acts like as an object of a preposition, okay, as the object of a preposition. So 4 functions. The gerund has 4 functions, 4 uses. First, it is the subject. subject of a verb, the object of the verb, as a complement of the verb, and as an object of a preposition. First, subject of a verb, object of a verb, as a complement of a verb, and finally the object of a preposition. So 4 different uses are there for this gerund. Now I will do each of this for you. The first one is, gerund is used as the subject of the verb. So the first one we are going to look at is subject of the verb. Okay? Subject. Subject of a verb. Okay, let's look at the gerund as the subject of the verb. I'll give you examples for this to understand. The first for the example is, seeing is believing. Okay, look at this sentence. A. Seeing is believing. Is believing. Okay, we're talking about subject of the verb. Now, look at seeing. Seeing is the subject. Seeing is believing. And in the second sentence we have here, B. Sleeping is very important. Sleeping. Sleeping is very important. Important. Sleeping. It's a subject of the verb. Acts like. The subject of the verb. Sleeping. I'll give you one more sentence. Singing gives joy. Singing. Singing gives joy. Again, singing acts like the subject of the verb. Again, finally, we have one more example. So all these are examples for you, okay? Finally, one more sentence. Walking is good for health. Walking. Walking is good. Is good for health. Now, the word walking. Seeing, sleeping, singing, and finally walking. What are we looking at in all this? I said, what is a gerund? Gerund is the form of verb which ends in ing and does the work of a noun or a verb. Act like a verb or act like a noun. Now, use of gerunds are 4. 1, the gerund acts like the subject of the verb or object of a verb or complement of a verb or an object of a preposition. So we are doing the first use of gerund. The subject, that is the subject of a verb. And I have given you example here. It acts like the word gerund, it acts like the subject of the verb. Seeing is believing. It's almost like what is the subject? See. Seeing is believing. Sleeping is very important. Singing gives joy. Walking is good for health. So in the first use of gerund, it is acting like the subject of a verb. Seeing, sleeping, singing, walking. Subject acts like the subject of the verb. And all gerunds ending in ing. And the next we will do the gerund, the use of gerund the object of a verb. I'll give you an example, then you will understand better. We did the first part, the use of gerund as the subject of the verb. Now we'll do the use of gerund as the object of a verb. Use of gerund as the object of the verb. That's the second one we are going to do. The object of the verb, of a verb. That's what we are going to do. Use of gerund as the object of the verb. And the example I have here are A. I hate watching movies. I hate watching. I hate watching movies. B. I like playing carom. I like playing. I like playing carom. He likes walking in the woods. He likes walking in the woods. He likes playing cards. He likes playing cards. One more example. He likes reading. He likes reading. We're talking about the object of a verb. Gerund as the object of a verb. And that's what we are looking at. Okay. I hate watching movies, playing cards. He likes walking in the woods. He likes playing cards. He likes reading. And these are all the words: watching, playing, walking, playing, reading as the object of a verb. In the use of gerund, the second type category is object of a verb, and the words walking and playing, reading, they act like the object of a verb. Now, in the third, we have the uses, the third type. Third use of gerund is as a complement of a verb. Use of gerund acts as a complement of a verb. And I have some examples for you to understand. Now let's look at it. It acts as a complement of a verb. Okay. Now I have a couple of examples for you. A. The best hobby is reading. The best hobby is reading. B, another example. Her pastime is eating. Her pastime pastime is eating. Now look at the two sentences. You have here the complement of a verb. The best hobby is you have here reading, eating. Both reading and eating act like the complement of a verb. For the hobby and for the pastime. Okay? So that's act like the complement of a verb. And the fourth type of usage of gerund is as an object of a preposition. As an object of a, as the object. As the object of a preposition. Or a preposition. Okay, as the object of a preposition. And here you have examples. Some examples are, she was proud of singing so well. She was proud. She was proud of singing. She was proud of singing so well. Next, I was punished for coming late. I was punished. I was punished for coming late. Coming late. That is the object of a preposition. Look at it. Singing. She was proud of singing so well. Preposition. I was punished for coming late. Now in this, it acts like the object of the preposition. Object of the preposition of, object of the preposition for. Now, we are talking about the use of gerund. First, we did the subject of a verb. Example, seeing is believing. In the second, we are doing object of a verb. I hate watching movies. So, watching, object. I like playing carom. I like. So, object of a verb. He likes walking in the garden. She likes playing cards. He likes reading. So, here, watching, playing and reading, they are all act like the object of a verb. And the third use of gerund is a complement of a verb. The best hobby is reading. Her pastime is eating. It acts like the complement of a verb. And finally, the fourth part, use of gerund, it acts as the object of a preposition. Here, she was proud. Here the prepositions are of and for. She was proud of singing so well. I was punished for coming late. So object. So the uses of the gerund. First, it is the subject of the verb, object of a verb, complement of a verb, and object of a preposition. Next, we will do some more to understand gerund better.